Hello, welcome to the Audio Dad Chronicles. I'm Shale, and today we're going to dive back into the world of K-pop by request. This is going to be Stray Kids performing Maniac, MTV Fresh Out. So I've received a number of requests from BTS Army that I need to expand my horizons a little further into the world of K-pop with another artist or artists in Stray Kids. Sounds good to me. And specifically Maniac, the MTV Fresh Out was requested, and it calls it a performance. So I'm going to take the assumption that it will be live, but time will tell on that. As I understand it, they are a South Korean boy band. It has been described, so no judgment, please. That is straight from the wiki page. That's what it says. If it turns out to be wrong, don't get mad at me. That's what they are telling me. And they are an 8-piece group, which is interesting because I always understand that they usually aimed for odd numbers, but they're going for an even one on this. And well, okay. So, enough said. Let's go. This is going to be the Stray Kids. Or is it just Stray Kids? Either way, this is Maniac.
Let's go! 정상인 척다들 힘좀 빼 짓고 있는 미소들은 say like 풀리면 다 똑같지 눈은 날 못 속여 허브체는 풀렸네 정신을 간신히 잡지 눈 한번 깜빡이고 다시 세상이 정한 정상인 코스프레 준비 Mission, mind blow, 정신은 backup 프로토타입 내 속에 너지나 freaking monster 유행 같은 친절함은 철없지나 rotten 내 통수에다 시원하게 욕해도 다 먹고
Okay, we're going to stop it right there. Looks like we're getting everything as advertised. It's K-pop, boy band. It is live. It's certainly, I mean, it sounds live. They're doing a great job of making a presentation as if it's live. It's an interesting dynamic so far that some are wearing the headset mics, and at least one of them, maybe only one of them, is holding a handheld microphone. I wonder what's up with that. If you know, do let me know. Maybe it'll play out in the video. Time will tell on that. And of course, got my subtitles on, and hopefully the translation on this one is going to prove to be decent. Yes, I mean, I don't know exactly it is what they're saying, of course, but at least it's not gibberish. I'm following some lyrics here, and it is saying something pretty straightforward, and I'm liking the message so far. So now that we got the basics under us of what we are looking at, what we're going to expect, why don't we back this on up just a little bit, or well, all the way, and let this one hit us again. Let's go. I like the video so far. I like the aesthetics and the cool contacts and. Love that move with up on the back, held up with the feet. That's a cool look. Just the way they moved him.
Let's go! 정상인 척다들 힘좀 빼 짓고 있는 미소들은 say like 풀리면 다 똑같지 눈은 날 못 속여 허브체는 풀렸네 정신을 간신히 잡지 눈 한번 깜빡이고 다시 세상이 정한 정상인 코스
I like the message that they're sending already. You know, be true to yourself. The fake smiles look weird. I dig that. I really appreciate where it is they're coming from, and I'm sure with the assumptions of the atypical quote manufactured boy band type of a thing, and you know very very choreographed and with very stylized and coordinated clothing and all that. There's oftentimes, I'm sure, a bit of a lack of identity that can happen within boy band type environments where all the members kind of blend together. But certainly, I don't get that sense yet from these guys, and I definitely didn't get it from BTS in the past, where every band member seems to really have their own self identity. They really have their own vibe, their own aesthetic, their own look. They're very identifiable in and amongst themselves. So that's really cool so far. Liking this. This is good.
Mission, mind blow, 정신은 백업 프로토타입 내 속에 너지나 freaking monster 유행 같은 친절함은 철이지나 rotten 내 통수에다 시원하게 욕해도 다 먹고 Pop in, 순진하게만 보다가 크게 다짐 호의가 계속되면 본줄 안에 toxic 이러니 도지 warning Maniac 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 Maniac 핑핑 돌아버리겠지 Maniac Frankenstein처럼 걸어 Maniac 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 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 Maniac 핑핑 돌아버리겠지 Maniac 비정상투성이 진짜 Maniac Maniac
I'm curious to know where this fit in their discography. I didn't look into it too much to know, is this later in their career? Is this earlier in their career? Where it all fit? But certainly right off the hop, it kind of gives an almost introductory vibe, like they're coming out. They're saying this is who we are, this is what we're about, and even if it isn't their first song necessarily, nothing wrong with that. Could be a lead single from a new album or something. But they're very much trying to establish that they are here to stay. They are unique to themselves. They're doing their own thing, but they are still a group and they're cohesive. Great dance moves, really, really tight. No surprise there. I mean, this type of an artist where they're putting in, frankly, I'm sure hundreds of hours into learning their craft and writing the songs, or is it written for them? But either way, learning their parts and how to integrate them and how to get the whole dance move in. It's really cool. And for myself, coming from a rock metal punk background, for those that aren't too familiar with this channel, I'm a former roadie. I toured many, many years mostly in Canada with a lot of Canadian artists throughout the 90s and so. And well, that world is not choreographed. It's very, very fly by the seat of your pants. The artists are jumping around, going crazy, sweating in little clubs and bigger stages and all that. But the concept of choreography and that level of style, of dedication to what they do, is just completely alien to me. So I really do appreciate taking this opportunity to get into other genres and seeing not always behind the scenes, but I certainly may get into more of that. But just watching what it takes, like not just having the usual assumption of, oh yeah, it's a bunch of pop stars. They're just going to go through the motions. They're doing their dances and they're acting like they're singing, but when they perform, they never actually sing. And this seems very authentic. There's a lot of authenticity, a lot of realism in what I'm sensing already. And we're only really, halfway through my first ever listen, and I already can tell that there's going to be depth to these guys if I dig more into them, which I've definitely experienced with BTS. So with more to come with these guys, I'm confident. I'm definitely we'll find out more about them. Have a chance to learn their names and what their personalities and their vibe is about. But anyways, let's go back a little bit and let it play some more.
순진하게만 보다가 크게 다짐 호의가 계속되면 본줄 안에 toxic 이러니 도지 warning
Like that bird effect.
Maniac 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 Maniac 핑핑 돌아버리겠지 Maniac Frankenstein처럼 걸어 Maniac 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 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 Maniac 핑핑 돌아버리겠지 Maniac 비정상투성이 진짜 Maniac Maniac 터진 양실밥처럼 결국 본색이 드러났지
Another thing I'm noticing that, at least certainly in my first listen, for Stray Kids here, is the song structure in this is very atypical, certainly for what you would deem that you would expect from pop, which I mean, certainly the Western pop, and I don't I often bring up Beyonce for no reason to pick on her, just because she just in many regards represents that epitome, that peak, that top selling artist, number one on the charts, however many 20 plus Grammys. Like when I bring her up, it's purely uh, as a lack of any other name, quite frankly, because like I say, I'm a punk and metalhead. So what do I know about getting deep and naming a whole lot of primarily Western pop type artists? But she just stands out as one of those, like I say, those big names that, with all the Grammys and all that. And when you listen to her music, not that I've barely listened to her music, but it is extremely formulaic. You're going to have your intro, your verse, chorus, verse, bridge, outro, if there even is bridges in a lot of that style of music, where it's just so predictable. That's the goal. They're aiming to have this very structured, very predictable, tight little formulaic music that is just going to fall into a mold that you could almost slice up and intermix 15 other songs, and if you'd never heard those songs you wouldn't even know it's unusual. This is almost like there's no repeats. Almost, it's like they're just going through a story. They've got different parts. It might have a chorus going on to it, but like so far, there's like no repeats in the style. They're just going through different scenes, different vibes, different feelings. That's kind of cool. I really appreciate that. And from a songwriting perspective, it's not easy to do. Like this sounds to me like it would be a chorus, but we may never hear it again.
내가 걷는 이 거리는 다 지뢰바다 언제 터질지 모르는 도만 volcano 전했던 바람도 언제 바뀔지 몰라 나를 숨긴 채 살아가 like a seal tornado Robin 순진하게만 보다가 그게 닥침 호의가 계속되는 걸린 줄 아는 toxic 이러니 돌지 warning Maniac 나서 빠진 것처럼 미쳐 Maniac
Do let me know what's with that bird. Is that just a specific thing that they just decide to do with this song, this call out type of a thing, or is that something more to a deeper lore within their music? I'd be really curious to know what that is. I am completely foreign to these guys. Yeah, not unlike my first listen to BTS, I just went, well, this is new to me, so let's take this on blind. Let's just completely jump in and just let the experience hit me with as few preconceived notions as I can. And it's really cool. I'm appreciating it so far, and definitely do see differences. Like if you were to play me another song blindfolded, I would absolutely be able to identify this from BTS. It's not like they sound at all the same. Just because they're K-pop, just because they're a quote boy band, they called themselves that. Again, I got judged a little bit for referring to BTS in that regard, even though, again, I was just reading it from a card that I looked up. But regardless, really dig this. It's kind of cool. And yes, definitely outside of my typical zone. I don't want to call it my comfort zone per se, but my habit. It is taking me outside of the habit, which was the whole goal of this channel. Break that mold, get out of this cycle, stop listening to all the same stuff. What am I wearing today? Not wearing anything today. Break out of the norm and let's experience some new music. And here we are, and this is pretty cool. I like this. This is all right. Oh, and I was going to say, and I definitely appreciate the different, I don't want to say musicianship, that's not the word I'm looking for, instrumentation. Different instrumentation, the choice of sounds, and even if it is primarily beat-driven, likely done on computers or with synthesizers and things like that, they're not calling upon the usual sounds and fat bass sounds that, even I might make or that are used with a lot of, excuse me, been drinking too much coffee. A lot of the music and music sounds and structures that would be pulled out on synthesizers and other pop music, they're using what I'm sure are a lot more ethnic based, natural to them. The tones and timbres and instrumentation and horns and things like that is a little more natural to their background, which is really, really cool. That's another thing that I really appreciate about checking out artists from other countries is when they're not using the typical Western tropes, which is, again, break out of that mold. Let's experience new stuff. Again with birds, I really like that. I like the fact that locked up in that really pretty package and probably the two prettiest of the band members are singing that line. I don't doubt that that's an accident by any stretch. Love the, I'm sure their contacts, those are very prominent green eyes, but great look, really, really cool. I love this one guy's t-shirt in particular. Don't know why, but that, just that stark white on black with the black suit and everything, really, really cool styles going on with these guys. I noticed just at the very end there, the little card that popped up in the upper hand corner. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not in the small window, but I saw it. It was a link to the Maniac music video. So clearly this is not the only version of it, but a live version for MTV Fresh Out as it was described. I guess there's going to be an alternate version or an original version probably of the music video. Might have to look for that too, just as a contrast, just to see the difference in how they presented. But either way, very cool. This one came as a direct recommendation from quite a number of BTS Army, and I really appreciate that. It was nice to not just to always be hit with suggestions for the particular artist, but hey, here's your chance. You asked for recommendations, we're going to take you outside of that, but keep you within the same world and give you another artist that is going to be of a similar style, and I like that. That's awesome. Really appreciate that. There will be others from this artist, I'm quite confident. Let's change it up though. Even though I am curious about the official music video for Maniac, and I'm sure I'll probably watch that at some point. Maybe it'll land over on Patreon, time will tell. Don't know about that. I just noted it up there and I thought, interesting. But I might just go somewhere else from here. But do I do another live style? Do I look for some behind the scenes kind of a thing with, done some of the guides for BTS and the like? Or do I just go straight up to a regular music video? Where are we going from here, y'all? Give me some suggestions. I'd really appreciate that. But anyways, I do appreciate you also coming along for the ride. I do hope to see you all again. Peace, love, and empathy to you all. Good night.